Welcome back to the channel and welcome to a pre-fight analysis. This is what is the before I go wrong, but just changing the name up just for now. Like this is all experimental, as I said, with the post-fight thing and where I went wrong, etc., etc. Just scanning to see how y'all feel about it. I know really people that really tune into it the most are the people that actually love the name. They like the before I go wrong. They like the humility. They like the where I went wrong, before I went wrong, or etc. etc. But I'm just testing out. Some people didn't like it, some people do, but I feel like the people that actually care, I mean, people that's going to tune in, love it. The people that actually tuning in love it. But again, just testing it out. Just testing it out. I might just do away with the whole thing, to be honest, or I could. But I'm not saying that. I'm going to. I'm saying I literally could do that. It's not like anything set in stone, especially not this like the quick picks and predictions. Really predictions. I've been slacking on the full card predictions. I probably missed like 10 weeks this year in full card predictions. But predictions, I have not missed a week. I'm always gonna get those quick picks out, at least for the UFC, all the time. So, but I should never be missing full cards like I've been missing. I've been slacking and sloppy. That's the biggest mistake I've been making this year, is just missing out on, just like losing track of time and just been over, just not giving myself time. That's probably the best thing to say, but or give my channel and my work time like it should be given time, so that I should never miss anything. It should be on top of everything and should be elevating my quality. But 2 minutes basically into this video, I'm not even talking about what I'm supposed to talk about. So UFC 277, Pena versus Nunes 2, full card with a pre-fight analysis. So just with before I go wrong, like same exact series, just a different name for now, I guess, till find something that just clicks. I'm gonna run through the card and give my quick analysis, or really even not even analysis, a quick run through and see, kind of where my head is at on each single pick as of right now. So just running through first fight 170, Orion Cost versus Blood Diamond, or Mike Mathetha, whatever his blood name. I mean, his blood name, his real name, his government name is. I'm gonna call him Blood Diamond because he want to be Blood Diamond. I'm gonna call him Blood Diamond. Right now, I'm leaning cozy, but definitely gonna be low confidence no matter which way I lean by the time I make a prediction, because why that light look like a crack on my screen? That's a weird looking light. But we're gonna let it play in the camera. Look like a spider web, like crack on my screen, but it's not a crack on my screen. Light, just stringy. I don't know what it's doing. I don't know what type of chemistry that is, but hey, stringy light, let it. There you go. But Cozy versus Blood Diamond. Cozy was like 34 years old, 3-1. Clearly didn't show the best ground game in this fight, first fight in the UFC. I feel like he got rushed too much there. But then again, you at the age, you just like rush. Like that's all you can do. You can't wait till you 10 years, then you be 44, and then like life pass you by. So you just take the opportunities and give it your all and hope for the best. Cozy on that side, came in off the contender series looking like a full rounded problem. I didn't see like him and his brother coming on and just run through the division, but I thought they could come in and make build a decent place for themselves in the division. Like they could probably be lower end, middle lower end type guys, at least until otherwise shown. But they kind of just came in here and looked like guys that's gonna be fodder and almost comical. Like they're very decent hammers, but mediocre nails. Like they go the first round looking pretty good, and the second round they fade and get stopped. Both of them had pretty much the same exact first fight in the UFC, like going there, getting takedowns, and looking dominant. Or the younger, well, I don't know who's younger, but the other Cozy, the lighter Cozy, was in there. Well, are they both welterweights? They both welterweights, I think, because one Cozy lost to Sasha Palatnikov. That's a welterweight. So they both the same weight class. So one lost to Sasha Palatnikov. This one lost to Philip Rose, so I say this one's a little bit better because Philip Rose is much better than Sasha Palatnikov. But anywho, you can take him out the first round, you can potentially stop him, but I don't know how it's gonna work with a guy that's 3-1 and 34 years old and then not really developed, and not like he's a super technical fighter that knows how to really throw strikes to limit takedowns. So I don't know if he's gonna make those adjustments. I just feel like Cozy's probably gonna take him down, submit him type thing, and that's all I'm really saying on that one. But definitely can't trust any Cozy brother at this moment. They need to prove it to me. Like I don't know if I would put any money on that or anything at all. Low confidence and just otherwise avoid it and just look. But if Blood Diamond goes to like a plus 9,000 or something, a plus 900, plus 500, plus 400, I might sprinkle something on that just because how unreliable Cozy's are. So or have shown to be in the UFC. So I might do that. But other than that, I'm looking like I'm likely highly avoiding this fight because I didn't even know that great. The next fight we have, Next fight, like heavyweight division, Nick Morano versus Ihor Potera. So at first I was leaning Potera, just really off, just the momentum. I don't know, it's not even momentum. Well, he has more wins. Well, actually, I'm not even leaning off that because his wins are trash. But I don't know. I was kind of leaning like it was not even for good reason. Like wasn't writing down like I'm leaning to this guy. I was like, if I just do a quick thought, just look a little bit, Ihor, yeah, I'm going him. But when you look into it, like I can't really lean to either guy. But I guess with Nick Morano, he at least has good experience now. Ihor Portera for straight lunch ladies, and then he got one win where he just caught a guy. He fought his decent win, like guy who was 8-0 going to the fight, pretty decent fighter. He just caught him. A little bit lax out there, kind of hanging there, and he just stepped back and caught him with a hook. I think it was like a combination, continuation combination type thing, and caught him and dropped him and finished him off. But it wasn't like he looked super phenomenal in that fight or really showing great improvement. You look at his fights even the same year or a little bit earlier that didn't look very sharp. It was fighting like literally lunch ladies and lunch dudes and whatever the case may be and security guards. It wasn't looking all that great. Nick Morano, like I guess with Ihor Portera, he has some power and a little bit of size on him. And yeah, that's about it. Don't know how long he go rounds. Like I said, he hasn't really been pushed like that. Nick Morano, we haven't seen him go rounds with little Stephen Oshik's training partner. I forget the dude's name right now. We seen him go rounds with Kennedy Nchukwu. So we see him go around. What he is a guy that's not really great on defense, but will come forward, see him take some decent shots, come forward, and just overwhelm you. Just keeps coming forward, poor defense, and crowding your space, and just keep pressuring you. Ihor Portera in burst, he got power, so you kind of banking that maybe Portera could catch him, just land on him, and his power will be the X factor and be to put him away. So it's like, I don't know. Right now, I'm kind of shifting back to Nick Morano to be to extend him and then maybe stop him. But they'll have mirrors of each other. Because Nick Morano, when he first came out, I did not like him. I still don't like him, to be honest. But I like, look at this guy. He was 9-0 or 8-0 himself, and all his opponents were like garbage. Then he got Saparbek, this dog. And I predicted Saparbek to dog. I think this is even before I started the channel. But yeah, predicted him to dog me. He dogged him. And then he did like 2 years off, came back. Oh, then Alexa Kamor, that's the dude name. Alexa Kamor. But yeah, anywho, with this one, I like that experience of Nick Morano. I like the fact that he has gone those rounds. I feel like Ihor Portera definitely got good puncher chance at this one. It's definitely like none of these guys are particularly skilled, so could be a firefight. And I do feel like he probably has fight more as power in his hands. I feel like Nick Morano's the guy that instead of, oh my gosh, his hand's so heavy. He's more so a slow cooker or a guy that's going to break you down and wear you down, just pressure and volume, and it's constantly just tagging you. I mean, he does got a bit of power, but he's not a heavy hitter. I feel like Portera, I wouldn't say he's necessarily a heavy hitter, but he's definitely got more one-punch knockout power, is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, right now I'm liking the experience, so Nick Morano. But now I'm going to shift the video and go back to what I did in the last video before I go wrong and not even really declare my picks. I'm just like, I want to say my analysis without saying the pick. So I gave you like those 2 picks, but now look at the rest of them. No more picks, I guess, for this video. Then probably really the next tomorrow I'm gonna drop the pick. So yeah. But flyweight division, women's flyweight, Yong Kim versus Jocelyn Edwards. How I feel about this one is, I don't know. Yong Kim, I feel like she won her fight. Her last one, I feel like she won it. But watching the game, I can see how she lost it. But still feel like she won. But it was a close fight when you really look at it. It was a close fight. Capoeira was definitely hurting her more with her punches. That was the case. And I don't really feel like Yong Kim was really landing all that clean with her punches either. So it was like, I see how she lost. Jocelyn Edwards on the side looked very weak to the body in that last fight, but she won off volume. Like in the first round, whatever, throughout the whole fight, she was out there doing her push kicks and doing kicks, but looked very limited and very predictable. Who knows? Yong Kim is much slower. I have labeled her the lurch, but I think Edwards is about her same height or taller, actually a little bit longer as well, thicker too. But yeah, I don't know how to feel about this one. And it's like neither of them have great power, but I feel like Edwards would likely do more. But he's going on doing the push kicks. Yong Kim could, does have a jab, even though it's an ugly one. It's working there. I feel like Edwards right now is really just flaily strikes, push kicks, and force takedown grappling. Like her takedowns don't be the most polished stuff, but like she kind of muscular things. And Yong Kim isn't like a physically weak woman, so I know she just go out and just look to hit her arm, throw her, and just try to force her to the ground. So that could end up backfiring against her. So very much, and also right now, women's MMA, lower tier, scrub women tier, kind of where they kind of both sitting at right now. the dog seems to be winning, and Kim is currently the dog, so something to look at. But right now, I'm still on the fence. I don't know really do with the lean. There's no real clear factor, but that's how it is. But I feel like Edwards gonna win. It's gonna be about volume and speed. If Kim wins, it's gonna be better shot selection. Yeah, better shot selection. Probably timing her trying to do these little teeps and front kicks and be able to catch her with straights when she's doing that, or pop the jab on her before she can even set it up. But that's how we'll have Edwards. Maybe be able to work on a double and try to catch her, like being the fast fighter, catch her the slow lurch, try and come at her with these jabs, or maybe straddling the cage with her jabs, and then just bit of work level change and get some takedowns against the cage or in the center. But that's my thoughts on that one. Next fight we have in the welterweight division, Michael Morales versus Adam Fugit. And Fugit is actually a pretty solid dude, low key. I'm not saying he's like super solid. Kind of up there in age a little bit. Not where you quite want him to be. Not all that talented necessarily, but a well-trained guy. What he's like a 5-time, not world champion, but a 5-time champion in kickboxing and some like Muay Thai as well. So not no world champion. He definitely not showing no world caliber champion level striker. But by MMA standards, I feel like he's a world-class MMA kick striker. So good shot selection. I'm like, I don't really see no super athleticism, super talent for the game, but well trained and got the composure of a guy that has high level striking experience. So he could potentially catch a guy like Michael Morales, who's still very green in some sense, like a good physique, a good build, a good place to build upon. Good fundamentals for Michael Morales, but a little bit stiff, a little bit predictable. Because, like I say, you were just focused on the technique right now. You haven't really developed your true self just yet. And I feel like that's where Michael Morales is still, and there's opportunity for Fugit. But all I'm saying is Morales should be a high confidence or a lot confidence, because yeah, just that young talent. And I feel like even though he might not be as fluid and might not be as set right now, going with a guy like Fugit, I feel he'll have a good size and strength and talent balance over. I feel like he's just doing the fundamentals and staying clean and basic with it. I feel like if he lands on Fugit, even like a little jab, little straight, little hook, I feel like he's gonna have more effect, and I feel like he could definitely muscle him out, or like muscle him around out there, score some takedowns, look to set up some takedowns, or look to catch a kick, drag him to the mat, and potentially get a stoppage. I'm gonna say whether it be on the feet or on the ground. I'm really gonna say more so probably on the ground. Probably catch his attention a little bit on the feet, then have him cover up, then duck second round and start ground and pound him on the ground and break him down and like TK him like second round late. That's where I would kind of say that. I just gave another pick, but yeah, like a Morgan Rouse there, should be high confidence in that one. Next fight, lightweight Drakkar Klose versus Rafa Garcia. With this one, pretty good matchup. With Rafa Garcia, what do you got to do in this one? I think it's a tough matchup. I'm really got to see. I'm just gonna say what I like about both, because if I say how I see it, I'm pretty much gonna say who I'm leaning to right now. But with Rafa Garcia, good age. We like 27, Klose is like pushing mid 30s. So age is definitely on the side, and age is a big factor in MMA. Drakkar Klose isn't a guy that's like 34, had a Shogun career where he's been fighting since he's like 18, or even some other belts who probably started maybe in their 20s or like mid 20s and stuff. Maybe they don't have as much damage, but they have fought they haven't had the length, but they fought like 40 fights. He's not that guy. He hasn't had a lot of fights professionally, and he hasn't been necessarily in these whole big wars and been fighting since 18. He ain't one of those guys, so he's still fresh enough. He might be able to, like, you can see 34 in Gustafsson is not 34 in Drakkar Klose. I mean, he did get his back blown out by getting pushed, but dude ain't that over the hill. But nonetheless, Garcia will have age advantage, which leaves him that youth, freshness, and that room to grow. But yeah, it's like good matchup. But I feel like it's really gonna come down to, did Rafa Garcia make any improvements? But I feel like wrestling wise, I feel like Drakkar Klose has a good style to deal with Rafa Garcia. I feel like he comes from a gym where he does well with a lot of good wrestlers, a lot of good BJJ practitioners. So that's not really his weakness necessarily. It's more so Rafa Garcia maybe pushing something on the feet, and also how does Rafa Garcia deal with pace? How does Rafa Garcia deal with takedowns? I feel like they both gonna be looking for takedowns, but I feel like Klose will deal better with the grappling situations, I feel. But maybe Rafa Garcia can potentially find some openings on the feet, or be able to touch up some clean stuff. Opportunities open up for him, but I don't know. Pretty competitive fight right there. Kind of what I feel like, does it come down to age or experience? Which will be the biggest factor? Garcia has more fights. Klose has obviously more UFC fights, and that's the biggest thing. And against much higher level competition. So it'll come down to whether it be experience or youth in that one. And styles, but another video for that. But next fight we have in the we have in heavyweight division Dantel versus Hamdi Abdubawaba or Hamdi Abdel Wahab versus Dantel Mays. And this one, we don't know about Abdel Wahab. He's 3-0 versus three bums, like three literal bums. I think one guy he fought twice. I think he might have fought an amateur. So very sketchy career. His wrestling don't look all that great. You know, he's supposed to be like an Olympic Greco guy. But one thing about Olympics, if your country may be trash overall in that sport, or that position you hold is trash, you could get that trash spot because your country just that trash, or that spot's just that trash for your country. You're an Olympic wrestler or Olympic athlete. So I don't mean he's all that great because he's on an Olympic team. I can see he was like in the U.S. Oh, that's a real guy, or he was in Russia, like Olympic Russian wrestler or something, or Irani or something. Like that would mean something. But I don't think Egypt is all that great at wrestling, or especially not that weight class. So it don't really mean a whole lot. And he don't look all that great. And also Greco, I feel like at one point they said Greco transition is better than made in freestyle, but I feel like freestyle folk style trash are way better, and it has been far greater successes overall. Most guys coming in here are freestyle, folk style wrestlers. But anywho, not impressed with his skill set or experience. I feel like Dantel Mays just has the height, the size. You know, he's working on his own grappling, and that experience will be everything. Experience against actual competition versus a guy that's been running through cab drivers. So yeah, that's looking like a clear dub for Dantel Mays. But can you really lock it in? Maybe that, I don't know. I feel like he should be a deal with that wrestling. I feel like his wrestling ain't all that world class just based off being an Olympian. So it should be a clear dub for Dantel Mays. To never have been a dog and probably going to rock it up to a heavy favorite at some point before the fight. So get your tickets in before they start to really rise up. But yeah, next fight, lightweight Drewdober versus Rafael Alves. How I feel about this one is Drewdober has never really beat a black belt or grappler like that. I mean, Rafael Alves is not a grappler like that. That's the thing. So Rafael Alves, the style he's been fighting, like it seemed like it's your favorite Drewdober. And a lot of these guys that are these tenured UFC vets, they around like they 32 and 33, like the really afterthoughts in the division. But now they're really starting to come to their own and see these new blood, and they see new blood coming in, and like they get intention, and like they supposed to get walked over, but they not sitting down no more. They coming back and they running things right now. Like Jake Matthews, what he just did to Paulo Fiallo. Is his name Paulo Fiallo? Yeah, I was about to say Paulo. I remember I was butchering that. I kept saying Paulo Costa, but Paulo Fiallo. Oh, that was Andre. It's not even Paulo Fiallo. It's Andre Fiallo. So I'm doing it again. Andre Fiallo. I don't know where Paulo even coming from. Andre Fiallo versus Jake Matthews. What he did, Jake Matthews did to Fiallo when Fiallo had some attention on him. With Lee Jillian just did to Muslim Salikov just a couple weeks ago, and it's been a couple instances of that. So it's been a couple instances they're not sitting down for nobody. So it might be Drewdober's chance, and he did just do that to Terrence McKinney as well. Drewdober did so, but Terrence McKinney like a greenhorn little babyface guy that's still developing into his frame, getting used to his body, but he probably going to be pretty good. I don't know if it's going to be great, but definitely showing signs of being good. But yeah, I'm not sure about that one. But yeah. So I feel like with what's his name? Yeah, with Drewdober versus Rafael Alves. I feel like the jiu-jitsu was the thing. Like one thing, Drewdober hasn't done well. People actually had the grappling skills to take him down in jiu-jitsu. It's not like he has such amazing jiu-jitsu or amazing wrestling defense. So he hasn't didn't even do well with those guys. Everybody that got like 2 takedowns or more on him have beaten him. But Rafael Alves hasn't gone for takedown. I think he only went for 1 takedown. So I think he has 0% takedown accuracy right now. But don't quote me on that. It's very low right now. He doesn't go for very many takedowns. I don't think he has scored any as of yet in the UFC. Only has had like 2 fights in the UFC and 1 on Contender Series. And in the Contender Series fight, the other guy went for the takedown. He got a guillotine choke, I believe. So, but then again, on Dober's side, he has lost 3 times by 2 times by a guillotine choke, and 1 time was turned to no contest. It's a controversial one that was turned to no contest, but still a factor. So it's like, are you banking that Rafael Alves could potentially catch Dober, and then Dober, reactive wrestles and get tapped in the guillotine in the first or second round? Probably first round. That's probably the bet, first round. or would Dober be able to endure maybe, or Dober could knock him out in the first round. But I feel like the safest scenario with Dober, like use that experience, use that durability, outlast in the first round, or at least the first bit of the first round, and then knock him out. So best thing I guess over under 2.5. So it's like out the first or second round knocking Alves out. But then again, nothing with Alves is he got it next time he had cardio issues. Because in his fight against Demir Ismagulov, he got stronger in the third round. That was his best round. Was the third round. It wasn't the case. So he was this big chisel guy. He looked explosive. He could knock anyone, beat anyone in the first round. But you take him out of the first round, anyone could beat him. He's not that type of guy. Or he, at least in his like the little history we have with him in the UFC, he's not hasn't proven to be that guy just yet. So, and also how good is he really? Demir Ismagulov didn't make him look the best. Also, he didn't look all that super great on the Contender Series. But then again, Demir Ismagulov, but that's two different fights. But his most recent L, well, he didn't lose in the Contender. He won. I'm just trying to say, but his only L, don't really get too much tape on him. I mean, as far as UFC, like it's plenty of tape on him, but not so much tape on him. It was hard to find tape on that guy, but it's not so much. What I would say is truly relevant tape is like you can see a guy that has 5 UFC fights, and you can really dictate. So it's a lot of different things to look at it. Is it going to be a case that Rafael Alves is going to come in here and like say, "Oh, it's my time," or is Drewdober going to be able to? But again, I don't know. I feel like with Drewdober, his story has already been pretty much written. We already kind of know where he's at, where he's going. Rafael Alves, we don't really know. It's still still been decided. But yeah, definitely interesting one right there. Definitely couldn't go all the way. Like, can Alves be explosive, touch him, and get him to fall into submission, or will Alves come out there and use a grappling approach? But I feel like if he just goes pure striking approach, I can't really see it boding all that well. I feel like he has the power and his technique to do it, but that type of matchup seemed like statistically favors Dober. And I feel like Dober is the more skilled striker and does have the pedigree and experience at the highest level to win that. So that's not the smartest strategy. So he played a firefight. In all likelihood, that will pan against him. But if he mix in wrestling and grappling and jiu-jitsu and really, really works on it, comes in solid, could be a very easy night for him, potentially. But like I said, blends it all together, that's the best path. Look to be supposed to touch him with something or get his respect. Feel like getting in the striking match, the level change, get the takedown, start wearing him. I feel like, and if he can do that for 3 rounds or be able to work to get a stoppage, yeah. But again, the interesting thing about it is the fact that we have not seen that from Rafael Alves in the UFC. That's the biggest interesting thing about it. And if we did see that from UFC, it was like, oh, go Rafael Alves. But we haven't seen this, so it's like, statistically, like he's going to play in the Drewdober's game. So will he play this game? Will he be able to beat him at his own game? Interesting matchup. You got an interesting matchup right there. Scene change, but anywho, I had to put my device on the charger, so different location. Just gonna wrap this video up. So yeah, next fight we have Alex Morano versus Matthew Semelsberger in the welterweight division. And this one, Semelsberger I feel like has takedown control, whereas he was the better wrestler, stronger, physically stronger man, should be able to keep this on the feet. Morano I feel like as diversity on the feet, he's more unorthodox. Like Semelsberger is very simple and simplistic with his striking, but definitely very powerful, very physical. I feel like Morano has the angle to take advantage of the predictability of Semelsberger. So even though he's powerful and effective at what he does, somebody's gonna. And also Morano has the better footwork. It's a bit odd, like I said, odd striking, offense, odd footwork, and being odd is hard to predict. But Morano does also have a tendency to get caught up in firefights, and you don't want to get caught up in a firefight with a man that much bigger and that much stronger. And you got power like that, to get your chin cleaned off. But yeah, very interesting matchup right there. Semelsberger should be favored and seems like a good pick there, but who knows? Like, good fight there. Some interesting matchups here for sure. Next fight we have in the light heavyweight division, Magomed Ankalia versus Anthony Smith. And this one really gonna be real brief. Ankalaev's a solid fighter. Odds a little bit crazy. It shouldn't be that far apart. Yeah, pretty clear, but I don't know, Ankalia looked a little bit disappointed in that Thiago Santos fight, but then again, Thiago Santos is explosive, and he's always gonna be pretty much an awkward fight for a lot of people. But he still dominated him for the most part. It was a boring fight, but he dominated him in a boring fight. And he definitely has the ability to dominate Smith in a boring fight or an exciting fight, especially if Smith going to have that tendency to turn into a go turtle mode, cradle mode when he goes to the ground. So look like Ankalaev fight, probably highly likely this fight where he just maybe chops his legs out and then drags him to the mat and just beats on from. But yeah, kind of like this end up in a fight where he get on his back again, or maybe Smith pulls a bit to catch him on his feet and open up grappling situations on the ground. maybe that's what happens. Maybe that's what happens. But right now, Ankalia looks like a clear pick. Oz clearly saying that as well, but more so it's about what can Smith do, because we know what Ankalia will likely do to Smith unless Smith makes some significant adjustment. It's not like the wins he have had, to rebound have been all that impressive. When you really look at his wins on that rebound, really none of them all that impressive in retrospect. And even back then, they weren't all that impressive. Like really watching them live and stuff, like or predicting them live, foreseeing them before they happen, analyzing them. Like he had some big wins that necessarily flip the script like, oh, this is a new Anthony Smith. He beat guys that really weren't the people that were beating. Like he took a big step down and picked up some wins. That's all that happened. He took a big step down and picked up some wins. Now he's back up at that level. I know confidence probably back now, but can you actually do what you were supposed to do when you were at this level? Now you return to that level, and now you're going with a guy that has a style to do the same exact things that were done to you when you were at that level. Next fight, flyweight, Alexandria Pantoja versus Alex Perez. Perez, been inactive. He hasn't fought since he lost to Davison Figueiredo in the title fight. I think he had some injuries and stuff going on, so he couldn't fight. But yeah, but this one, when I look at Perez, even like from the moment I saw him, his first fight, the guy's like, he might not look physically imposing, might not be this big chisel bodybuilder looking dude or anything like that. But one thing about him is, I'm not saying he's not technical. He is a pretty technical fighter. Got some good calf kicks, some good kicks on the feet. Pretty decent hands on the feet as well. But the biggest thing about him, I feel like his skill kind of comes down to he's a bully. He might not always be the tallest guy out there, but his thing he like to impose his will upon you. And when he can't impose his will upon you, he doesn't look the best. And I feel like Pantoja's not a guy that's going, not a pretty physically imposing guy himself, but also not a bodybuilder looking dude, but get some good strength behind him. Decent wrestling defense, solid grappling. And I feel like Pantoja's striking is sharper, but who knows? Has Perez added some new wrinkles to his game? Or will he be the physically stronger man and be able to impose that will upon Pantoja? Will his wrestling be able to have success against Pantoja? Like, that's the interesting about it. So, but yeah, Perez's style, I feel like, heavily relies on him either being just a better striker in a grappling matchup, or just being a guy that goes out there maybe with a better striker and can impose his will upon him, or just a fighter he can physically impose himself upon. And is Pantoja a guy that he can impose the will on? I'm not so sure. I'm really leaning the other way, that he's not that type of guy that he can, or he's not that dude. He's not that dude that's going to be an impose his will on Pantoja. And Pantoja's not that dude that's going to allow Perez to impose his will upon him. Still going to be a very competitive fight. Perez is a solid guy, but I feel like Pantoja's sharper right now. And has proven to be sharper, and has been active, which is another big factor. Unless Perez has really did an overhaul and made some big leap to his game and been doing some study and come back better than he ever was, or was injured while he was fighting, and now he's coming back sharper and better than ever was. And then you can really see some adjustment that could shift the fight in his momentum, maybe even heavily. But right now, momentum should definitely be on Pantoja's skill, style, everything should be Pantoja right now. Next fight, heavyweight, Derrick Lewis versus Sergey Pavlovich. Make this short and sweet. Derrick Lewis, when you really truly look at his game, ignore his first loss to Tony Johnson, irrelevant. Other loss, grappling loss, Dan Cormier, all-time great, literally all-time great, top 20, top 15 at the minimum, well, top 15 at the minimum. Great fighter, Dan Cormier, wrestler. Every other fight he lost, his style that he loses to is guys, but then again also age, but let me just say, as far as styles he loses to, not even factoring age, is that Derrick loses to guys, that can take his best punch and keep coming. Strikers that can take his best punch and keep coming. Tai Tuivasa took his best punches, was hurt, wobbled, but kept coming, and then saw opportunities in the clinch and was able to, saw that he wasn't defending in the clinch and was able to land some elbows in the clinch that ultimately put the end of the fight. Mark Hunt, legendary chin as we know, even though he's pushing for in his 40s, still had that legendary chin. And not to this degree of his youth, but still legendary chin. Could take Derrick Lewis' best shots, keep coming, broke him down. Adrian Sampson, not necessarily known as a guy with super legendary chin, but not a super bad chin either, but took his best shots, better striker, took his best shots, then put him out. Well, stopped. Sean Jordan, striker, I'm not saying he took his best shots, but the striker took him out. So he loses to a striker that, I guess, can dish it and take it. That's what he loses to. Sergey Pavlovich, we're not really sure what he is. He's supposed to be a Greco-Roman. We haven't really seen no real great wrestling from him at this level, striking-wise. So we don't know. He kind of your regular run-of-the-mill MMA fighter without a true strength. His strength is wrestling, but does he use it as a strength? He's such a force with it, or will he just come out there and look to strike with Derrick Lewis? And or is Derrick Lewis's like record of being winless in Texas or Houston or whatever going to continue? Like, is that a thing that's going to continue? Is it 837 now? He don't really see a. Well, it's always a path to title in the heavyweight division, especially given that Curtis Blade just got that win, and he has a knockout win over Curtis Blade, so he can win this one and very much get a rematch with Curtis Blade. Now, nowhere we have Ngannou versus Derrick Lewis too, so interesting matchup there. Like, you lean into the youth, you lean into the fact that Derrick Lewis only loses to striker, and Pavlovich doesn't really fit that picture. Or we lean that maybe Pavlovich can look to have some grappling success, but another thing, Derrick Lewis don't really lose the decision, so Pavlovich can go a path where he's gonna try to wrestle him and can't really materialize a finish. And all likelihood, what's really gonna happen? He's gonna probably try to work for the decision, but with all likelihood, maybe they're gonna favor Derrick Lewis striking, or it's gonna be a case where everything's looking good, Pavlovich get a little bit lax and get knocked out. So it's gonna be one of those things like he either gonna get a decision swept up underneath him, trying to go for the decision path against Derrick Lewis, or he's gonna get knocked out when he's trying to run through the finish line. That's pretty much what has been his history. Lewis don't lose decisions. He don't. That's another thing. Derrick Lewis does not lose decisions. But I guess the most thing is that this fight is most likely going to end in the stoppage. Whether Derrick Lewis is just done now and Pavlovich just stops him, or Derrick Lewis stops him, whether it be early or late. But interesting matchup. Like, a lot to think about, or a little thing to think about. A lot, a little bit to think about, but a lot to think about those little things. With this one, next one, flyweight division for the interim title, Brandon Morano versus Kai France. These two fought before, and Morano came out victorious. But with this one, like, Kai France, I feel like it's the sharper striker, more powerful striker with Brandon Morano. But then another thing, when I look at the stats, actuality, Kai France has a higher pace and throws more shots. But Brandon Morano, along with the throwing shots, he will go for more takedowns. So that's another thing. So it's the matchup, but I feel like stats out the way. Sometimes like stats are relevant, sometimes they are irrelevant. Because when they actually fight, Morano will be the one throwing more punches. Kai France will be the one looking for, land the harder shots, the sharper shots. Morano will be out there literally hard on his sleeve, throwing every single shots down, bite on the mouthpiece. Whether it be pretty or sloppy, letting his hands go. Tired or not, dropped or not, damaged or not, let his hands go for the takedown. And I also feel like with the Kai France versus Askar Askarov, I feel like Askar Askarov, I feel like in my opinion, I felt Askarov won the fight, or is it Askar? I don't know. These guys be having similar names. Maybe like Askar Askarov. I said Askarov, but whatever the dude, man, whatever his name may be. No matter how many times he want to repeat his own name in on his birth certificate, or his mom wouldn't do that, but that's his own prerogative. But yeah, whatever you want to be. Yeah, his approach was more so a controlled approach, and Kai France went off, defending those takedowns well and landing the heavier shots. Whereas Morano ain't going to be about control. It's going to be about control, volume, work rate. It's not about just control, and then you just lose because the guy landed flush shots to you because you were trying to control, and you weren't really trying to do as much offense yourself. You were just trying to limit your opponent's offense, and thus limiting your opponent's offense. You limited your own offense, and that allowed your opponent to just eke out by being a little bit more impactful with their moments. But I don't feel like that's going to be the same avenue for Kai France. But this fight going to be definitely a dogfight. Ain't going to be no easy win for Morano, but I do feel like Morano's going to be the one attempting more things. So right now, I got to say I'm leaning Morano, and I'm doing what I said I wasn't going to do. But hey, I dropped some picks in there. Some ones I kind of lean on the fence and just keep it a little bit private. Other ones I just kind of dropped. So I already said it, Morano, I'm leaning in Morano. Ain't saying the method just yet, but still see a competitive fight. But Morano, I feel like he'll be mixing the takedowns, going to be doing more. And in a tight matchup, or potentially tight matchup, always going to like the guy that's going to be doing more, and that's going to be Brandon Morano. But then next fight we have in the main event, and really what I'm going to say with this one, the main thing I'll say is one, would I end up picking Pena or not? What I'm actually right now, I'm leaning Pena right now. So I'm not saying my pick again. Right now, I'm leaning Pena. Pena should not be that big a dog. I'm not saying she's a crazy dog, but she's like, what, plus 220? Even though she just came off beating Nunes, and people might say Nunes, oh, she's had a bad off night. You can't be giving people excuses like that. And really, Pena before and after, like prime Pena when she first was coming off the Ultimate Fighter, was the ultimate stylistic mismatch for Nunes, like her ultimate worst matchup. Then she had some rough points in her career, some rough losses, and then that forgotten. But then she came back, made her way to the title, and she was the ultimate worst style matchup for Nunes, a woman who has in her history, similar to Charles Oliveira, quit a lot of times or just choked a lot of times. And then you got somebody like Pena, who's all she is work rate, and grind. That's all she is. She ain't no super amazing striker. Her jiu-jitsu ain't all that great. I mean, that's her strength. Her wrestling, her jiu-jitsu, probably her biggest strength, they say on paper and like in actuality. But it's not like she's no this flat out monster on the ground in the jiu-jitsu. Like I say, in no area she is that, but her strongest attribute is the fact that she's relentless. And that's where Nunes will struggle when somebody that's relentless is just gonna stare in her face. And that's what Pena did. And Pena made some little short adjustments, was catching Nunes trying to throw her alley oops with her hooks and her overhands and stuff, and trying to load up everything and swing these big shots. It was catching a little short shot, even though her striking looked pretty. It was cleaner and more fundamental. It was sloppy and weird looking, but she was catching little check hooks in there when Nunes was loading up and was hurting Nunes because Nunes was loading up. And I feel like Nunes still gonna always have some of those same weaknesses, and Pena always gonna be able to push that pace. But can Nunes finish her? If she can't, so I feel like it'll be the same outcome. If she can't finish her, or she can't settle down and start to really get into the game and can't get frustrated at any point, this is Pena's fight. So Pena's very much in this fight, and this should really be pick 'em odds, to be honest. And I don't feel like Nunes has all that fire, and she could try to say she has this and that fire and this and that. You know, like she could try to say she's hungry and this and all other stuff, but Nunes, I feel like in reality, she overachieved in her career. I mean, everybody sees himself as great, but Nunes really was selling herself into like a gate guardian type position or some like a journeywoman type position. And then she started to turn her career around, got some big wins, and it kept going. She got better. But I don't feel like she's all that hungry to win her belt back. And what's really left for her to do is fight Kayla Harrison and beat her. And I don't think she really cares that much to fight Kayla Harrison, maybe for a big check. But I just don't feel like Nunes is that hungry. So. But hey, if she come in there and fight settle down, that's why this fight's a pick 'em. If she comes in the same way, it should be clear Pena should win. But the fact that I'm not saying it's not a sure thing, that's why I feel like the true odds should be a pick 'em odds is if Nunes comes in and fights it with more settled pace, instead not get emotional, not get caught up in it, the fight can easily go away. But if she does, or if she don't come in there any bit lacking, Pena will put it on her and be at a so like. Depending on who shows up or both shows up, this fight could really be a pick'em. So right now, very much a pick'em. Right now, I'm leaning to Pena, but very much a pick'em fight, depending on who we get from each side. Maybe we get them both at their very best. Matter of fact, a Pena that's improved and confident, the fact that she just already has a win over her, will be even better than the Pena that beat her. And Nunes, I feel like Nunes is kind of coming and saying, like, I'm going to be my old self. Like, Nunes not coming and saying, oh, I'm going to be better than I ever was. She coming and saying, like, I'm going to be who I used to be. And that's not really a good thing in most cases. Sometimes it works out. Like that's sometimes all they need to be is who they were to win fights, win the rematches. But I feel like in better cases, like you should always want to be better than you ever were, or try to be, or at least aim to be, and try to work with everything. You can't just come in and just trying to live in the past in the future. You know, like trying to bring the past into the future, like, or bring the past into the present. The past is the past for a reason. It has passed, and you gotta keep evolving or get left behind. Even if you are technically this and technically that, staying in the past will keep you in the past and make you in the past, make you a thing of the past. But right now, lean to Pena. And that's the video. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and come back for more videos. Peace.